Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good day. It is not Saturday. It is Sunday, November 20th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host. I am better than you, and you know it, Jeremy Harris. As always, you can check me out on my socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations 52 on Instagram, and the 215 on Twitter. Last show, we did a Faction Warfare Part 3, and today, as you know, we're going to start doing things a little differently when we have these Saturday shows. Full Gear was last night, so we're going to look at the show, review it, best matches, some of the decisions, so on and so forth. And then that part of the show, if you just want to hear that, will be part of the What Just Happened. But for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. So, on the news tip, what do we got for you? Well, Kevin Owens is possibly injured, not injured enough where he can't make War Games, but he did get injured at a live event. Sounds like he had an MCL sprain. Sprains are always better than tears. Remember that. And the suspected recovery time frame is about 4 to 6 weeks, so we'll see how he does in the War Games match. PCO has signed a new deal with Impact Wrestling. He will be with the company until Halloween of 2023, so just pretty much in a year extension. Rey Mysterio was pulled from the Smackdown World Cup because he is currently injured. We don't know the extent of his injury, but it is either a foot or an ankle injury. Ring of Honor Final Battle will likely not be a sellout. They've sold about a little over 1,500 tickets so far. There's still about 1,000 tickets left. There are a lot of events going on that same week in UFC 282, the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and NXT Deadline. Abaddon was injured at a pro wrestling event. How long will she be out? Don't have a time for how long will she be out, but looks like she suffered a broken collarbone. Raw ratings. November 14th episode brought in 1.6 million viewers with a .44 of the 18 to 49 demo. That's not bad. That is up from the previous week. It's up from actually the previous couple of weeks. That's the highest it's been since October 17th, actually. It was not bad. Dirty B has signed Hit Row to 3-year contracts. It looks like a lot of these new deals that wrestlers are getting coming into Dirty B. Emma Hit Row, Dexter Lumis, 3-year contract. Jake Roberts is back at AEW after suffering a really bad illness. He had a really bad health scare. He's off oxygen for good. He's standing tall, feeling great. That's what he says. Can't wait to have Jake back. It doesn't feel right without him there. If you saw Dynamite this past week, the Acclaim dropped their new music video with an appearance by Paul White himself as Captain Insano. We've been teasing that for a long time. Happy to see Captain Insano back. Tony Khan explained why FTR isn't on the full gear card. Essentially, you want to give other people a chance, and they also hold 3 different tag team championships for 3 different companies. We got things to do. It's okay that they're not on the card. They did not suffer. Mercedes Martinez is cleared to wrestle. She is the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. and it's good to have her back. We need more stuff going on with the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. We've seen the TV title be on the line with Joe. We've seen the World Championship, Tag Team Championships, and the Trio Championship. So it's time to get that Women's Championship some shine. Dynamite this past week, the Full Gear Go Home show, brought in 818,000 viewers with a .28 and the 18-49 demo. That is down from the previous week. You would think it would have been higher for a go home show, but alas, it was not. Tony Khan says he might end up stripping Thunder Rosa of the Women's World Championship and just giving her a title shot when she returns, because she's been out for a minute now, and Tony Storm has been the interim Women's World Champion. So we'll have to see what goes down with that. A top WWE prospect was spotted backstage at AEW. Casey Navarro is a young talented superstar, been going on in the indies, putting his thing down, and WWE, he had a private meeting with them, and they're clearly interested. So we shall see some really good news. Rhea Ripley will have her first match in 5 months. 5 months. Have you noticed she hasn't wrestled at all since January 6th. I'm sorry, June 6th. I said January 6th. Lord. Since the June 6th, dealing with an illness, something with her heart. But she will be wrestling Asuka Monday night, and the winner of that match gives their team the man advantage for War Games. Tony Khan confirmed Chef Jericho will help run AEW live events. We've said it time and again. The one thing the AEW needs to start having are house shows. They need to start bringing in more revenue, giving the wrestlers more more time in the ring. And Smackdown saw a increase in viewership ever so slightly. They did 2.13 million views of the .50 and 18-49 demo. That is very, very, very good. That is the news, and we shall be right back. All right, so some shows this week. Also, from here on out, I will not be covering NXT anymore. I will not be talking about it unless something major happens. Like major happens. Their matches won't be considered for match of the week, neither will their stars. I am over it. I am fucking done with NXT. Monday Night Raw, we're building towards Survivor Series, aka War Games. And what do we have? Well, the show gets a fist. Wasn't good, wasn't bad, right there in the middle. That's not a bad thing. We had an opening segment, clunky, with Seth Rollins, Mustafa Ali, and Bobby Lashley. Seth came out, and he's a babyface now. He says he's doing the open challenge. Ali wants a piece, Lashley wants a piece. This leads to Lashley and Ali fighting, having a match. Bobby defeats Ali again. Bobby's a full-on heel, I guess. This was a weird, clunky, just opening segment. Mia Yim defeated Tamina. It was never in doubt. Damage Control wants Mia for their team, but she declined, saying she doesn't have any beef with Asuka and them. Chad Gable defeated Matt Riddle. Akira Tozawa challenges JBL and Baron Corbin to a game of poker and wins. This leads to Baron Corbin beating Tozawa later in the evening, and we got an after segment on WWE.com with Tozawa teasing a character change, getting rid of his ninja outfit. We had Miz TV with Johnny Gargano. Same old stuff. Same old. Miz came out dressed like Mr. Rogers this time, trying to play innocent. This is just the same old stuff. Let's just speed this up already. Get to Miz versus Johnny at Survivor Series. All right. Dominic Mysterio defeated Shelton Benjamin. A little help from Priest. And Dom has been really good as the sniveling, conniving worm that needs backup and needs his big brothers and sisters to protect him. Austin Theory explained why he cashed in Money in the Bank. It was good. It was a very, very good explanation. They salvaged this. They did really, really well. Essentially, he said that, well, I was never going to beat Roman. And every time I've tried to cash in, Bryan got involved, the Bloodline got involved. He had no chance, so why not? He was then challenged by Ziggler. Theory beat him later in the night. Io Sky defeated Dana Brooke. Light work for her. Mia joins Team Bianca, so then they need one more member. We'll see. Originally, I guess it was supposed to be Candice LeRae, but she sounds like she's injured, so I don't know who it could be. Maybe Dana Brooke. And in the main event, Seth Rollins retained the United States Championship over Finn in the Open Challenge after the OC and the Judgment Day all brought. Austin Theory came out after the match and fucked up Seth Rollins. Yeah. Over on Dynamite, we had our Full Gear Go Home show. The show also gets a fist. Not great, not bad. Almost could have got a thumbs up. Almost. In the opening contest, Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli defeated Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. And a Darby Allin vignette, followed by Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Promo, we had the acclaimed music video with Captain Insano, which was great. Swerve beat Anthony Bowen. Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs brawled. Just big man slapping man meat. Britt Baker said some things. Actually cut a solid promo, but it put her in a light as a babyface. But also did Saraya's promo on later in the evening. Death Triangle beat a returning Top Flight and AR Fox in a trios match. They then called out the Elite for a trios title match at Full Gear, which is happening. Ethan Page advanced over Bandito in the Eliminator Tournament. Toni Storm defeated Anna Jay. Jamie Hayter confronted her after the match. And Moxley and MJF had an in-ring promo to end the show. And I was like, please don't have William Regal turn on MJF. Turn on Moxley. Please don't let him turn on Moxley. Well, we'll get to that later. Over on Impact, probably the best show, man. Impact has just been killing it. Black Taurus defeated PJ Black. We had a contract signed up between Josh Alexander and Kaz. Don't trust Bully Ray. Mind you, this was all the go-home show for Overdrive. And Impact is doing these Friday night pay-per-views. I dig them. I do. I dig them. The Bullet Club won a fatal 4-way. Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie couldn't find Jessica, so Taya took her place in the match. Taya won, and Jessica made the save after Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans were beating her up. Steve Macklin defeated Tommy Dreamer in an old school rules match. Masha Slamovich she wanted death against Jordynne Grace for their last women's standing match. At Overdrive, Rich Swann defeated Laredo Kid. Sami Callihan defeated Eric Young in a double Jeopardy match. And Valor by Design stood over Eric Young as the show goes off the air, teasing something. Speaking of Overdrive, Bully Ray defeated Moose in a tables match. The Death Dolls retained the tag team championships over Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans. Mickey James defeated Taylor Wilde. Rhino and Heath defeated the major players, retaining the Impact Tag Team Championship. Trey Miguel defeated Black Taurus to win the vacant X Division Championship. Jordynne Grace defeated Masha Slamovich in the last one in standing match, retaining the Impact Knockouts Championship. And in our main event, Josh Alexander defeated Kaz, retaining the World Championship. Bully Ray showed his true colors, attacked Josh Alexander, attacked Kaz, was going to power drive Josh Alexander's wife and said, "Why would you ever trust me?" He showed his true colors. Over on SmackDown, we have more building towards War Games. The show gets a fist. The Brutes and Drew McIntyre started the show and said they have a fifth member. Sheamus explained why Drew is on his team. And listen, we are known. They've said it time and again that they've been rivals, they've been friends, but they're just still friends. And sometimes they just love fighting each other. So Drew has Sheamus's back. Sammy comes out and says he's going to guarantee a victory for the Bloodline. Ricochet defeated Ali to advance in the World Cup. Jey Uso wants to know why Sami Zayn spoke for them. Karrion Kross defeated Madcap Moss. Emma is an added wrinkle in this storyline. Bray Wyatt and LA Knight confronted each other. Bray apologized to LA Knight, saying he was wrong for attacking him. LA Knight slapped him back. And we're even. Bray was like, okay, you know what? I understand that. We're good. We're even. Leave it at that. He went to go shake LA Knight's hand. LA Knight slapped him again. He messed up Knight. And Bray had his look on his face like, yo, I'm going to murder this dude. I'm going to murder this guy. Knight stepped over the line. The Usos confronted Karrion Kross. Want to know if he's the fifth man. Kross said when he confronts Roman, he'll do it face to face. Okay. Shotzi Blackheart defeated Shayna Baszler. Ronda kept interfering. Raquel Rodriguez came out to even the odds. LA Knight was later laid out backstage under all of this like debris and chairs and stuff. So he really messed up. The New Day and Braun defeated Imperium. Gunther was ducking Braun during this match, which I do not agree with. Gunther ducks no man and should never be portrayed to be scared of anyone. Ricochet confronted Strowman in the back after the match. In the main event, Butch defeated Sami Zayn to advance in the World Cup. Kevin Owens is the fifth man. He showed up, looked at Sammy, and then took out Roman. War Games is going to be dope. Over on Rampage, the Go Home Show. Another Go Home Show for Full Gear. Ricky Starks defeated Lance Archer to advance to the Eliminator Tournament. They started this match by fighting backstage. And this was really good. This was fun. I would like for them to do more, with Lance Archer. Brian Cage and the Embassy laid out Ricky after the match, as Brian Cage will be facing Ricky in the next round of the Eliminator. Jericho says that Sami Zayn will have his back for the Ring of Honor World Title match. Sami disagreed with that. Hook retained the FTW Championship over Lee Moriarty. This was Hook's longest match to date. Athena continued her heel and aggressive tactics, defeating Madison Rayne. She laid out Aubrey Edwards after the match. Mercedes Martinez made the return and make that save. I'm with it. Mercedes Martinez, Athena, Ring of Honor Women's Championship, final battle. Give it to me. And in our main event, Jun Akiyama and Konosuke Takeshita defeated Eddie Kingston, and Ortiz and Eddie begged and pleaded for Tony Khan to give him the match one-on-one, what he wanted at Full Gear, which he got. And our matches of the week, ladies and germs, from Raw, the United States Championship match, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. It is incapable of these two men to have a bad match. This was nothing short of nice. Just two veterans knowing what to do. From Dynamite, Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho versus Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. From Impact, the Bullet Club versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Aussie Opens versus Shera and Raj Singh. Also from Impact, the double Jeopardy match, Sami Callihan versus Eric Young. From Smackdown, the World Cup match, Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali. From Overdrive, just two, and they were our last two matches, Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich in the last women's standing match, and Josh Alexander versus Kaz for the Impact World Championship. Our star of the week, I have to give it to Jun Akiyama, because it's not often you can see Jun Akiyama wrestle in America, especially against Eddie Kingston. Kind of gotta be like that. Those are our matches of the week. That's the weekend review, and we shall be right back. Full Gear, the last pay-per-view for AEW, is here and gone, and we have to ask ourselves, well, what just happened? Nice little show, 3 matches on the pre-show, 10 on the main card, and we're just going to dive right into it. Let's start off with 0 Hour. So for 0 Hour, we had 3 matches. The first on the pre-show was the Best Friends and Rocky Romero and Danhausen defeating the Factory. Started out with the 4 members of the Best Friends. Danhausen came on later in the match. They won that. Second match was Ricky Starks defeating Brian Cage to advance in the Eliminator Tournament. And the final match of the 0 Hour show was Eddie Kingston getting Jun Akiyama. And just go and watch this. When you see people are enjoying a profession and they love what they do, you'll enjoy it more. And you can see the joy that Eddie and Jun had facing each other. And then Eddie cut just to the when he does it, he cut an amazingly beautiful promo. It's awesome. I recommend this. And just going to check out, man, the promo. Our main card. Let's get into it. First match of the evening was the steel cage match. Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Once again in the steel cage. And yeah, we still don't really know why Luchasaurus turned on Jungle Boy and has aligned himself with Christian Cage, who was ringside, with Luchasaurus. But these two fought each other really hard. A lot of history involved with the two. So when Luchasaurus finally goes good again, this will be great. It will be beautiful. These dudes did a lot of work. And the thing you must know with the steel cage matches, AEW does not do a lot of them, so they always feel just a little bit more satisfying. They feel good just because of how rarely they're used. That was great. That was awesome. These two dudes put on a solid match. This was actually one of the longer matches on the show, went in at a little under 19 minutes. It was a decisive victory for Jungle Boy as he climbed to the top, hit a massive elbow drop off the cage, through the table, and then he applied the snare trap on Luchasaurus, who hesitated, but essentially tapped out. This was much better received from Wednesday. AEW, the one thing that makes their shows a little bit more better than the others is when they have a crowd that is into it, that can elevate the match, and that's exactly what they did here. We'll see where they go next. I guess we can separate everybody until Jungle Boy finally gets his revenge on Christian Cage. Next up, the Death Triangle defending the Trios Championships against the returning Elite. Don Callis on commentary for this one, and man, oh man, it doesn't feel like this match went 18 minutes, but the match went 18 minutes. It was non-stop. Move, go. It's like how can these dude do the things that they do? Rarely was there any selling. Crowd once again was very much invested in this, as they wanted to see the return of the Elite. Now everybody assumed that the Elite would win, but we get to near the end of the match, and all we hear is "Fight Forever." Shout out to the AEW video game. Fight Forever. Kenny Omega got Phoenix up for a V-trigger. Penta started hitting sling blades on everybody. Right? Omega powerbomb Rey Fenix, and the Bucks hit the BTE trigger. Omega covered, but Pac broke it up. Pac tossed the Bucks to the outside, pulled the hammer out. Charging at Kenny, and Nick Jackson super kick Pac, right? Pac got rolled to the outside and gave the hammer to Phoenix. Remember, Pac's been trying to get Phoenix in Penta. Oh God, I forgot Penta's name. Penta to use the hammer, and they refused. This time they didn't. Phoenix, while up in the one-wing angel, hit Omega in the head, rolled him up 1, 2, 3, shocking everybody and give us the outcome that we did not think we'd get. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting a best of 7 between the Elite and the Death Triangle, with the winners getting the Trios Championship. And this will be match number 2 when that starts. Alright, next up, the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill defending against Nyla Rose. Nyla came out with Vicky and Marina Shafir in a lowrider. Shout out to Eddie. Big Adasa. Rest in peace. Jade came out dressed like Shera from Thundercats. This match didn't go long. I didn't need it to go more than 10 minutes. And it went under 10 minutes. This joint went. How long did this match go? This match went 8 minutes exactly. It was a lot of power moves because, big mighty women slapping woman meat. That sounded weird. Didn't come out. Doesn't sound as good as a big mighty man slap. You know what I'm getting at. They both hit each other's finishers, but obviously when you hit someone else's finisher, you shouldn't be able to go with that. They did not. Nyla climbed to the top rope. She tried to go for a dive. Jade rolled out of the way, hit the bicycle kick, hit a jaded 1, 2, 3. Jade is 42-0, and the streak continues. She's not going to lose until she gets 50-0. But she's beating everyone in the division. So it's like, what's next for her? Who can she face? She's got to start going outside of the company. That's what I think should happen. But this served its purpose, and we move on to the Ring of Honor World Championship match. Chris Jericho defending against Claudio, Castagnoli, Bryan, Danielson, and Sammy, Guevara, and this was another really, really good match. And the method and the motive of this match was that Jericho wants to be smirched to disrespect the name of Ring of Honor, and he's slowly becoming a great Ring of Honor champion because he's doing everything in his power to keep the championship. Man, this was one of the longer matches on the show. This was a great match. This could potentially almost be considered the match of the night. It's kind of a thing with Ring of Honor that the World Championship is defended in multi-man matches. It happens a lot. But the match started out with simply just the JAS versus the BCC, and then eventually spilled down. Sammy turned on Jericho, Claudio, and Bryan Danielson fought each other, but they have a respect for each other, so they don't mind fighting each other. It's kind of like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. But this was a really, really, really good match. Everybody got time to shine here. But Jericho won. He hit a Judas effect out of nowhere on Claudio. They hit a second one. Got the 1, 2, 3. And this was really good. This was fun. I'm hoping Ring of Honor can finally get their own show at some point so that it doesn't have to bog down the AEW product. But I get it. It's something that has to be done right now. Next up, our second match. Our fifth match of the evening. Britt Baker taking on a returning Saraya in her first match in almost 6 years. The winner was never in doubt, but I would have preferred the opposite, but we'll get into it. They come face to face, and we start with some stereo lockups, feeling each other out. Britt took down Saraya. Saraya got to her feet, and we're off. Breaker hit Saraya with a shoulder tackle, and Saraya immediately grabbed the back of her neck. Immediately. Britt looked concerned. The ref checked on Saraya, and Saraya shook her arms out. She stood up and apparently smiled at Breaker. Opposite the hurricane. Camera should have. You guys got to do better. So, when Saraya smiled, Britt smiled back. Saraya's good, man. So ultimately, this was going to be a little rough. I told someone that for Saraya's first match back, I would have much preferred it to be against someone with a little bit more seasoning on them bones. You know what I mean? Someone that can help guide her. Well, not to say that Saraya needs guidance. She's been wrestling longer than a lot of people. But just, I wanted a veteran. But you got to get the name. You got to get a big name for for her to face, and this wasn't great. It didn't need to go as long as it did. I would have been fine with this being a 10-minute match, but Saraya did win. She hit her with two. She hit her with two rampages, the cradle DDT, 1, 2, 3, and this was listen. It didn't need to be a barn burner. It didn't need to be a 5-star masterpiece. I wanted to see if Saraya could survive and how she looked, and she looked good. The build wasn't that great as Britt started cutting babyface promos, and Saraya was always supposed to be the babyface here. And I think that's ultimately what bogged down some of this was just the build to it, but Saraya looked good. She got the W. I'm happy. I am. I'm good. Next match. Big, mighty men slapping man meat. We have ourselves triple threat match for the TNT Championship. Wardlow defending against Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. And matches like these don't need to go long, and they did not go long. That is a beautiful thing. It was just a lot of power moves, a lot of back and forth, as Simon Miller likes to say, wrestling tennis. These guys are good at what they do. It was great to have Joe here because he's been wrestling longer than Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs, so he's able to help guide them along while also looking like Samoa Joe. But these dudes put in some work. This was good. This was good. He choked out. He, referring to Samoa Joe, choked out Powerhouse Hobbs. I would have been fine with this going maybe 1 minute longer, but everybody got their big moves in, and it looked good. Nobody really looked bad coming out of this match. I personally would have liked Hobbs to win. My man's got to do something. He defeated Ricky at All Out. Just give him a little bit more momentum. But Joe winning was fine. Was good. I don't hate it. I would prefer Hobbs, and Joe can do a little bit more with the TNT Championship. I mean, the title once felt like a big deal. It's been underutilized, so we gotta do something. Tony Schiavone interviewed Chris Jericho and Jake Hager backstage. Tony Schiavone made mention of, some of the dissension between he and Sammy. And Sammy's like, no. Jericho's like, no. That's what I was expecting Sammy to do that. He's a future world champion, but that's what we got. Orange Cassidy showed up and told Jericho that, hey, another former Ring of Honor champion wants a title shot and will get a title shot, and that's Tomohiro Ishii. Let's go. Jericho said he still views Ishii as the young boy. And it looks like Orange Cassidy's next feud will be against Jake Hager for the All Atlantic Championship. I'm really good with that. Next match: Sting and Darby Allin versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I didn't need this to be anything other than what we got. You knew it was going to be overbooked. You knew it was going to be crazy. You knew that Sting and Darby Allin were going to win. And to the best of my knowledge, Sting, Jade Cargill, and Hook are the only 3 undefeated superstars wrestlers in AEW. I need the Darby Allin to chill out on trying to murder himself in every big major match that he's in. I wasn't expecting Jeff Jarrett to give really any real cheers. Last time we saw Jeff Jarrett wrestle was actually in Ric Flair's last match. If you've seen this match, you've seen it done 1,000 times Sting and Darby Allin win, and we're moving on to the AEW interim Women's World Championship. And here's what I thought about this match. I said that if the Saraya Britt Baker match takes place before this, Britt would come to cause Jamie Hayter the match. That did not happen. We got a pretty even affair between Tony and Jamie. Jamie came out by herself. Crowd started with Jamie chanting. It's not like they hate Toni Storm or don't like Toni Storm. But Jamie Hayter's been the one on the hot streak, and she was the one that needed to come out of this as the champion. And these two women did a really solid job. We jumped to the end, near the end of the match, and Rebel ran down ringside while Storm and Hayter are fighting in the ring, and somehow Jamie gets Tony collapsed near the ropes, distracting Paul Turner. Rebel hits Toni Storm in the head with the Women's Championship. Jamie Hayter pins her. Tony kicks out. Rebel then jumped on the apron once again, trying to cause a distraction. Paul Turner ejected her for ringside. Tony set up Jamie Hayter for the cloverleaf, but Hayter pulled herself up to the ropes to avoid the hold. Hayter tripped Storm to the outside. Britt ran down. So here we go. Now, I thought that she'd be the one to cause Jamie the belt so we can finally get this feud, but she gave Tony a curb stomp on the championship. She tossed Storm back inside. Hayter gave Storm a Storm Zero, but Tony kicked out, and at 2.9999999, both women got up. Tony hit a Storm Zero for her own near fall. Baker got on the apron to get Storm's attention, allowing Hayter to recover. Jamie hit Tony with the hate breaker. Tony kicked out. Tony kicked out, and Hayter is pounding mad at frustration. She clothesline Tony. Hayter clothesline Tony. Britt began removing the turnbuckle. Storm launched Hayter into Britt, with Britt falling to the floor. Storm charged Hayter, but guess what? She hit this Rose turnbuckle. Jamie hit the ripcord clothesline, 1, 2, 3, and we have a new interim Women's World Championship. I would have much preferred Jamie to win on her own. I'm tired of all the interference. It's part of the reason I'm not covering NXT anymore. But Toni Storm is no longer champion. Jamie Hayter is your new champion, and I'm happy to see Jamie Hayter with the championship. Tony had a nice little run. This was a good match. These two women worked really, really hard to keep each other engaged. I thought it was a little too late with the Jamie becoming champion, but she's not. She's still going to stay a heel, even though she was treated like a babyface by the crowd, because the crowd wanted her to win. Britt still helped her to win, so I'm expecting Britt to turn on Jamie to get a title shot with Jamie to win. So this was fine, and it's weird. One of the strongest advantages that AEW had in their early days was an audience that was fully in line with the vision and fully along with the plan. That's just not so anymore. There's been a lot of negative things going on in AEW, and even the commentary were apathetic to Hayter cheating. That's mixed. That's mixed messaging. The ending of the match, I'm fine. It's just it's weird. So now we just see what's going to happen in the division. Hayter, she has a solid resume. The crowd loves her. So how can they book her as a heel? This is just a title. This could be a title change, just to be a title change. And it's really hard right now with faces as champions. So we'll have to see what they do with Jamie Hayter. Second to last match, the Acclaim in the trilogy, the final match, taking on Swerve and Our Glory, defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Solid. Swerve and Our Glory came out first, and Max Caster cut a rap. He did two. He dropped two verses. Two. Really, really good. You could tell he was on. He was ready. He was ready. The crowd loved it. They scissored, and we made note that two things: that Bowens could possibly be injured, and Billy Gunn wasn't in ringside. He didn't want his emotions to get involved, to get the better of him, to cost his boys the match. But this was a very, very solid match. It was definitely better than their second match. Not as good as their first match, but man, they did everything and more to keep the crowd going, to keep the crowd involved. We played on Anthony Bowens always being injured and him possibly being the weak link of the team. Swerve in his heel ways. Caster. It was really, really good. Keith Lee being the anomaly. He's the cheat code, and these guys really put on just something, just fun. It comes to the end where Swerve's got the pliers and wants to cheat. Swerve got the pliers and wants to cheat, and Keith Lee threw him to the ground. He said, "Yo, I can't win that way," because Keith Lee doesn't need to win that way. Swerve slapped Keith Lee across the face. So there it is. Keith helped up Anthony Bowens to his feet, patted him on the back, and walked out on Swerve. By himself. You turned on your partner, man. So Bowens rolled him up for a 2 count, rolled him again. Swerve, there's nothing you can do. Swerve, like he kicked out like once or twice. Caster tagged himself in. Swerve rolled up Bowens, not realizing he was no longer legal. Caster into the ring and dropped Swerve. Bowens shook out his soldier. He hit Swerve with his moves, and then Caster hit the sit-out driver. 1, 2, 3. The Acclaimed retained. Everything worked here. The heel turn for Swerve. The Acclaimed retained again, solidified themselves as good tag team champions. Billy Gunn not getting involved. Keith Lee walking out on his partner. This was great, man. This was a fitting in to the trilogy of matches between these three. And our main event, Jon Moxley, MJF, AEW World Championship, and Mox was getting booed. It is not that the fans don't like Mox. We all know the fans love Mox. We all know the kind of wrestler he is. It wasn't that the fans hated Mox. It was that they wanted MJF to win. MJF was over. He played into all of it. So Mox played into being the heel for the match, and it worked. These two did their very, very best, working with what they had given, and like the ending was never ever in doubt. It was never in doubt. What was in doubt was whether William Regal would turn on Mox, and I was like, please don't let William Regal turn on Mox. What's gonna happen with the BCC? Don't let Regal turn on Mox. And we get to the end of the match. Multiple ref bumps. Mox grabbed MJF from behind. The two of them were backed into the replacement ref, Paul Turner. This was the second ref bump. So like right before that, MJF was going to use the diamond ring, and William Regal walked down to the ramp, told him don't do it, and MJF threw it outside. So after the ref bump, Mox is choking on MJF. Max tap. There's no ref. Regal tells Mox to wake up the ref. While Mox is doing that, Regal slides the brass knuckles to MJF. MJF used them. 1, 2, 3. We have a new world champion. William Regal looked on with a smile, and MJF is your champion. He even did the CM Punk thing, laying on the ramp with the title, then holding it, and then doing the Snow Angels. So, yeah, never in doubt. I want to see where we're going to go with this. I want to see what we're going to do with MJF, with Mox, with William Regal. And once again, this match was just hurt by just the presentation of how we got here with the build. MJF, the build should have worked clarifying this dynamic, but the waters got muddled. MJF should have been the heel up until this point, but we started building sympathy for him, and Mox is Mox. He should be getting cheered all the time. How can you present MJF as a heel now? Crowd wanted to see his title win just like they wanted to see Jamie Hayter's title win. How can you present her as a heel? So we're in a weird situation. We gotta see what's going on. But as for the show overall, it's solid. I'll give it a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. It's a good show. We had 2 new champions, and we build on the next, big event for AEW. Will be Winter is Coming. That's kind of an annual thing for them. But here we are, Full Gear, over and done with. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. Come back this Saturday for our Thanksgiving tradition on the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to check out those socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and the 215 on Twitter. Full Gear. That just happened. And as always, Shotzi Blackheart, Wendy Chu, Zaya Lee, and Gigi Dolan. Holla at your boy. Peace.